I think for many of us who've been following this issue for some time, we knew that these treatments, that these surgeries were really harmful, and that the activists were being dishonest in saying things like puberty blockers are reversible, and that the hormones don't have long lasting harms. It's just, sort of pause things so that the kid can decide what they want to do. And yeah, they really denied any possible harm, and of course, bigged up the benefits that would, supposedly were preventing people from committing suicide and were helping them be themselves and live happier lives. Was there anything in this report that was particularly surprising to you, that you didn't expect to find?
Oh, for someone who's been, I've been writing about WPATH for a number of years. I've been reading about the what they're up to for quite some time. So it wasn't, for me, it was more to really like see them. I didn't really understand how activist led it was. I mean, I knew obviously you don't end up with a eunuch chapter if you're not a bunch of activists and if you haven't totally lost your ethical compass as an organization. But what I didn't really understand was how on the inside all of the conversations that are going on are just so driven by the activists. I mean, you see it over and over and over again that the way the forum works is typically somebody shows up with a really complicated case and they don't know what to do about it. So if you've got like for the adults who are really mentally unwell, there are quite a few the original post is a therapist who will say, I've got this patient, they have this, major depressive disorder, bipolar, whatever. They've got a really complex case. And I'm not really sure, they'll say, I'm not really sure whether this person can, deal with the post-op care of vaginoplasty. And then what you really see is a chorus of people come along who just sort of dismiss the doubts, dismiss the concerns, and encourage medical transition. I did not understand that that was what was going on. I didn't understand that that's the members. There are members who have doubts. Of course, there are people who have doubts because look at what they're doing. Nobody has any idea what they're doing. And I didn't really grasp the fact that they had this forum where everybody is encouraging the next step on the medical transition pathway and encouraging the original person, the therapist or whomever, to just ignore their doubts and just let the person go the next step on the medical pathway. Like there's there's a therapist in there and she's pretty active in there, and she's one of her little anecdotes is in 15 years she had only refused to write one surgical referral. And this is in response, I think, to the case that I just described, this person with serious mental health issues who wants vaginoplasty. And the therapist is like, I only refused one person in 15 years, regrettably, and that's because they were in active psychosis in the assessment and they were hallucinating. And then she says, everyone else got their referral letter. We're talking like homeless people, people with dissociative identity disorder, and they all at least got an orchiectomy. Now, an orchiectomy is surgical castration. And then she goes on to say something really interesting. And she says, and they're all presumably living happily ever after. So this woman is sending everybody off for their surgeries, giving them the rubber stamp and off you go get your surgical castration. All of these people in various states of very, very fragile mental health, or perhaps even homeless. And then she's just assuming that they all lived happily ever after without any proof. Nobody's doing any follow-up. I think it's probably quite safe to assume that they're not living happily ever after. And so what I just the surprising part to me was they're all egging each other on. I didn't really realize, I didn't know that the forum existed first of all. When I was writing about WPATH from the outside, I didn't even know that they had this forum. And just the fact that they're all egging each other on, I find deeply concerning, because anyone in there, then, if that's, you know, if my child's doctor were in a forum like that, and you know, my child's doctor has a concern about something, and then you just got a whole bunch of people who are probably not even medical, or not, they're just activists with a very, very rigid ideological belief system, encouraging the most invasive possible treatment, and no caution, no concern at all.